Charlotte, North Carolina.
Let's go, Bobby, let's go. What's up, what's up, what's up? Let's go, quickly, let's go. Let's go, Harry, let's go. I know your feet hurt right now, girl. Let's go, your feet gonna hurt tomorrow. Come on, fellas, hurry up, let's go.
John Bayley's been invited to spend a few days at Olympic High, a 2,000-student school once the worst performer in Charlotte. Day 2 begins with science teacher Jean Smith. She's using active learning to teach land use, and it's controversial. With 95% of exams multiple choice, the accepted approach is to teach directly to the test.
What does he use this for?
The woods, I'm not sure. That probably was maybe stakes for, maybe for fences, do you think?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It probably is, because look at the fences right there.
We have a nice variety of birds around here.
Name 3.
Finch,
robin.
They don't have scissor tails here, do they?
No.
No.
Oh. That over there, I don't think that's no. It seems just like
kind of scrubby woods? Yeah. Is that what you're saying? Well, we might want to clear it out. We might only want to leave a few of the trees.
Or maybe that could be like...
Yes, the land.
So that could be like our recreation center and stuff like that?
The value of activities like this simple field trip isn't accepted automatically.
It is basically a little messy.
Yeah.
So that it's not kind of a nice logical progression, which if we had students, you know, reading a text and taking notes, you could see a nice logical piece of it. So it's a little bit messy. The other thing is a lot of it is emphasizing student learning. Students are the ones. I'm supposed to be more of a coach, a facilitator, and that's uncomfortable.
For you?
I think more for the students. They want me to teach, you know, rather than coach. So I'm trying to have a lot of the responsibility of learning on them, but they have to do the digging.
And how do their parents feel about it?
Well, there's some concern there too. Some of the parents are fully supported, but there are some parents, especially if a student who's been an A student and thing is maybe not doing as well in my class, then there is some concern, yes.
Home time's at 2:15. Unless you're in the basketball team, in a crunch fixture against a local school. The morning after the team's narrow 1-point win, assistant basketball coach and science teacher Patrick Bucher starts the day with a lesson on forensics.
Yeah, they're evidence. What?
I don't think he's dead. He's moving.
How do you find out if he's dead?
I don't know.
Kick him?
I don't want to touch him.
Kick him.
Don't kick him.
He's dead.
That's my favorite.
Okay, so now you gotta get the fingerprint off of the gun so that we can match and see if that fingerprint is the same fingerprint off the gun here.
These guys.
Stick it on an index
You guys
card.
find here?
Yeah.
He's got work to do. So you guys done with him?
Are we done?
Bag him. Get him out of here.
He relies on thinking on his feet, and recently he struggled with his results.
Okay, you got it?
Police.
Yeah.
You guys aren't very thorough. Come on there, police. Was there any blood splatter anywhere?
Yeah.
Where?
Over there.
Might give you an idea of which direction the bullet came.
He must have shot him this way. Yeah.
How you gonna identify him? The reason we did this is forensics is pretty much all over TV, so you guys already know a whole bunch of stuff. All right, as proven by. All I did is give you, some of y'all, all I did is give you a little card that said collect evidence, and there you went, doing all this stuff, looking at fingerprints, looking at dead guys, looking at this, looking at that. Boom. All right?
We found a tie that was like tied around his neck.
We found a tie.
No, it was like tied around his neck.
It was tied around his neck. So what are we looking for? Raise your hand if you can tell me.
I don't know.
Good answer. You guys are the CSI people. I'm just the teacher.
I want to teach in an interesting and creative way and involve students. but I guess I got some pressure to get results. What does that feel like? What tensions is that going to create?
Insurmountable pressures. To try to balance the fun and the grades, I guess the answer, if there is you really got to train them for the whole multitasking thing. Here's your fun activities. Here's what you need to do and what you need to know. What is it like for a teacher to try to balance that? Being at the same school for 10 years, there's not very many other people that have been here for 10 years. There's a handful, and you see them come and go, and a lot of it's easy to see, and it is that pressure. And they come in here and they leave after a year or 2 years.
I think it's the toughest thing in teaching, is talking about changing the relationship between learners and teachers.
You're really gonna have to push teachers in order to try those things, because they know, and it's been said by the big boss and everything else, you don't get the scores, you're not gonna have a job. They're being pulled both ways, because that's all our in-services, is to teach how to do this differently and let the students take charge of how long it takes them to learn this and stuff like that. And so you're getting pulled that way. Sounds great. The kids would like it. They would be more engaged, but we would miss half the curriculum, and when the test comes, what are you going to do? I don't know if we would miss half the curriculum, but that's what they're thinking.
That's what the fear is.
That's what the fear is.
Test scores have dipped as the changes are being introduced, and the new small school principals are feeling the pressure from those on the outside.
They don't see results in things that we've already shown in our short 5 months in existence. We have increased student attendance, decreased incidents of violence, we see increased parent participation. Those kinds of things don't show up on a test. We have got to work on the transformation of teaching and learning, and we're doing that in leaps and bounds. But it's not fast enough, it's not soon enough for me.
Why do you think scores might have dipped over the transition? What, technically speaking, what would be the reason for it?
Well, I think that because it is so very new, and because we are so very focused on developing that relationship with students, I think that our concentration may have gone, but it takes a while to understand what we're about. One of the things that really could stop us, if we don't make test scores, you know, that's how we're judged. If we don't come up with the test scores and we don't come up with them quickly, we're under a very big threat of being reorganized or closed, or because it's happened to small schools across the nation already. People expect results, and they see results in the form of test scores.
It's John's last morning, but the balloons are not for him. It's Valentine's Day.
Grant, Isaiah, welcome.
John's back with history teacher Alan, and this time he's hoping to see a plenary.
Focus on me. Guys, we have a lot to cover today, so we're going to move very, very quickly. Let me go ahead and get started with housekeeping. Thank you, Shay. Hate to compete with you. Really, we didn't get a good chance to review what we had done last class. What were some of the ways the semaphore system could break down? What do you guys think? Kate?
You mean like break down as in not work? Or?
Right. So the message, for whatever reason, doesn't get from point A to point B.
If someone were to get the message wrong or misread it or whatever, then you could get like incorrect information and it could mess up whatever you were trying to alert them for.
Okay, excellent. What do you think, Keith?
Like if you have to run or whatever and you have to go up hills and stuff, or the weather changing, I think that's hard.
Right, if the weather changes, you've got snow, rain, clouds, fog, you can't get those messages back and forth. Excellent. You guys did a really nice job on these. Really nice job. What was that like, looking across and seeing those planets? Anybody? Yes.
I think it was fun because at first I didn't know. I thought the paper was on the wall or something in the side of the classroom. But when I looked at it, I saw it was all the way across there, and I was like, imagine if we could see it all the way up there. So.
Right.
I liked it.
It's amazing how far you could see, and when you put the telescope in conjunction with the semaphore, you have an amazing power to travel long, long distances, don't you? Mm-hmm. All right. Let's talk about the paintings. What was it like painting upside down?
Well, it was really hard painting upside down because your arm would get tired and then your neck would hurt from like that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Can you imagine painting like that for 4 years or more? 4 years. 4 years on your back like a little turtle.
What I noticed was I was really interested in when you were doing the recap from the lesson last time. It brought back our conversation about the importance and use of plenary. And what I particularly noticed was they were still learning ready, weren't they? In fact, you were able to be quite directive and teacherly in what you were doing, but they were hungry for what you were saying.
It really brought it full circle, the summary at the end, and actually through the parts throughout the lesson, really helped tie the individual pieces together in a nice little package form.
Yeah. A lot of people come into this profession, work for 5 years, burn out, and go off and do something else. If you were ordered to reduce your workload right now, or to find ways of preventing yourself burning out, what might be the top couple of ideas that come to mind?
I think building up a library of work certainly helps during the first year, and then organizing that into individual lesson plans and making sure that you've got those ready to go. You're right, that will be a big drop-off. But in the meantime, networking with other teachers, certainly, to get a hold of their best practices, probably will pay some dividends. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I'm not quite sure, which makes it so hard. I don't know exactly where to cut. But, I'm going to be divorced before I know it.
I'll give her a ring. It'll be all right.
Great.
Okay.
I'm all right.
I've seen some extraordinary teaching.
Great.
But, you know, I've seen children lying on their backs painting a Sistine Chapel ceiling on the bottom of a table, staring out of a telescope at a model of the planets. That kind of diversity and range of teaching styles, that's something that's beginning to happen. I'm also thinking less is more, depth over coverage. So if I get educated by you, I might want to really go into something and go into that something properly.
That depth is more important than knowing a little bit about a lot of things. But test scores are reality. They're published in the newspaper. We're judged by what they look like. We cannot ignore them. But we also cannot ignore the fact that we've got to educate our kids very differently, our students very differently than what we've done before. And test scores is not doing that. And the kind of teaching that will just produce test scores is not doing that. So we've got to, I think you've got to have the courage to take that leap.
The second thing is the way the teachers are knocking themselves out. There's a ferocious work rate. Everybody I talk to here seems to get out of bed before 5 o'clock in the morning. They all seem to be in trouble with their families because they're working till 10 o'clock at night and at the weekends. How do we look after them? How do we do it?
It's hard. It is hard, and because it's hard to be in this building. It's a lot of work. What we're doing is new, and they're doing some pushback, probably as they should do. And so, how do we find that happy medium is difficult. I think over time we'll get better at it. It's already better now than it was at the beginning of the year, but I think it's really critical that we find ways to support them.